I'm going to tell you a story about how 6 inches cost someone $5,000, and this is about an encroaching fence. I'm Tiffany Weber. I'm a real estate attorney in Mooresville, North Carolina at Thomas & Weber. And this story comes from, of all places, People's Court. My husband sent me a TikTok that was showing a neighbor dispute about a fence.
You move the fence so we can put this to rest. I said, absolutely. So we moved the fence.
So then when you moved the fence, you moved it how far into your property?
6 inches from the property line into my property.
Let's imagine that this black line right here is the property line. And what happened is you've got two neighbors. This person has a pool. This woman had a pool. She had to have it fenced in. This guy had put in a fence 2 years ago, and turns out it was over the property line. This woman has a survey to find out, oh my goodness, he was 6 inches over on the property line. She wants this guy to move his fence. He does. So he ends up moving his fence. It costs him, like $2,500 or so to do. He moves the fence entirely on his property. He says, you know what? She got the survey. She was right. I moved my fence. He moves his fence over here.
Now the fence is on your property.
Yes.
And now is there a gap on her side that the back fence no longer reached?
There was, yes.
Okay. So how did she solve that?
She erected a fence.
They were sharing, the fences were like adjoining. So him having to move the fence left her pool exposed. So the pool had to stay enclosed, so she had to rebuild it. And when she does, she rebuilds 2 inches over the property line onto this guy's property. And he says, oh, no. I was on your property and you made me move, so what makes you think you can come onto my property? So he says, no, you gotta get that off of there. You gotta move the fence. And this woman is very, very upset because it ended up costing her $5,000.
I have police evidence that they keep coming out, and he's asking them for me to take that is 2 inches on his property.
Now, I think the way that the judge on People's Court handled this beautifully, she said, you know what? You were right, and you enforced the law, talking to the woman. You were right, you enforced the law. You said, you're on my property, you can't be on my property. Move the fence, and he did. And now you're upset because you're doing exactly what he did, except you're refusing to move. And you're upset that it cost you that much money because you're gonna have to move your fence. Do you not see how it's gonna be a little bit tit for tat?
You cost them $2,400 2 years after the fact, telling them to move it because it was on your property. You don't think that there's gonna be tit for tat here? Of course he's gonna say that's 2 inches on my property.
And we do see that sometimes, even right here in Mooresville. So I thought that was a super interesting real life example. I see it all the time. Just this one happened to be recorded and put on TV. Now, of course, there are a few ways in North Carolina that this could have been avoided or resolved that didn't involve going on People's Court. So the first would be, this homeowner, and I think he acknowledged it in the video, could have gotten the survey when he put his fence in. Never had the issue. He could have been on his side, she could have been on her side, done. So that survey probably would have cost $650, $700 and prevented the problem from the outset. The other option is perhaps the neighbors could have had a discussion and said, listen, let's have an encroachment agreement. You'll let me keep my fence where it is. I will keep it in good repair. And then if it's ever destroyed, then I have to rebuild it entirely on my property. I will not make the encroachment worse, but it can stay where it is. That's a form of easement. And if the neighbor was willing to do that free of charge, that's fine. Or, the parties could pay for that. So he could have said, I'll pay you $1,000 or whatever they decided to get the encroachment agreement. The other option is let it be. If the fence was not actually causing any harm, there was not any sort of material issue by it being 6 inches on the neighbor's property, the neighbor could have said, it's fine. So that's a little bit about encroachments. I'm sure there's a lot of other examples like this on People's Court. I haven't seen them, but this one was perfect for what we deal with in real estate. I'll catch you guys in the next video.